On this week's FPL Happy Hour,
towards the end of the
can I
season.
guess one of them?
Who?
Antonio, Antonio. Hello and welcome to the second episode of our new podcast, FPL Happy Hour, with me, Sham, otherwise known as FPL 2 Guys 1 Cup on Twitter.
And myself, Rob, otherwise known as FPL Panda on Twitter.
Fantastic. Right, so Rob, how are you doing?
Yeah, great. Yeah, really pleased with my weekend. Yourself?
Yeah, not so pleased, mate. But we'll talk about that in a second. So I guess before we get stuck in, Rob, let's have a cheers, mate, as tradition now on this podcast.
Cheers. We need to get you a
Cheers, mate.
glass rather than drinking out of a
Yeah,
can.
yeah, that's true. I have got glasses. I've got glasses, but I just drink out of a can.
Save some shot.
That's it. um, Right, so on this week's episode, we've got a great agenda for you all. We've got the impending double game week 19, the big double game week ahead of us, and we'll be talking a lot about that. First, we'll be talking through our teams and how we got on in game week 18, which just finished a few minutes ago. We'll then go through our two hot topics, which were chosen in a poll this week. They were whether to the bench boost or not, and then talking about some differentials. And then finally, we'll go through our new weekly feature, which I'm really excited about, which is the Panda Planner versus Sham. I'll explain more about that when we get to it. And we'll mention some players on there that we like for the week and why. And this will replace our traditional game week 19 review, so to say, because it's more fun. And actually, we get to talk about the players we were going to anyway. So, let's kick off first with our teams for the week. So, Rob, how did you do?
Yeah, really good week. 60 points in the end. Obviously,
Wow.
whilst we're recording now, for those that are on the video, the auto subs haven't kicked in, so Smith Rowe hasn't come on. The Croydon De Bruyne as he has been penned. So yeah, he hasn't come in for Tierney yet, but yeah, I think the only disappointment for me was Spurs with the goal less than 15 minutes to go. So yeah, only 2 points for Dyer and 3 points for Lloris. But yeah, Diaz, Stones, and Wan-Bissaka all with their clean sheets. Diaz with a BPS as well. De Bruyne with his assist, Rashford with his assist. Fernandez blank, but everyone's got him, so you don't really mind. Then Saka this evening with 3 points, and then Kane got his goal. Great goal as well.
Were there any toss ups in your team beforehand? So any players that you were like, oh, I'm not sure, like any like 50-50 calls that you made the right or the wrong decision on?
So I think it
Because
was,
obviously we both free hit this week, right?
yeah, wasn't it? It was Tierney. I had Leno, and then I went with Tierney over Leno and Lloris over. Who do I go? Oh, Lloris over Fernandez. No, yeah, it would have been Fernandez at the back instead of.
Of Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah, so I would have got the clean sheet from. I would have lost. I wouldn't have had a clean sheet from Fernandez, but I would have got one from Leno. So I think he got a save point as well tonight. So yeah, not too bad on that count. But yeah, overall, really happy with the game week. I think it moves me up into the top 450k. Last night, I think it was like in the top 50k score for the game week. So yeah, really happy. Yeah, successful free hit. What about yourself?
Yeah, I only scored 50, so 49 plus an auto sub. So for the benefit of the audio, I've got Lloris, and then I took a gamble on Sace, then Cancelo, Stones, and Tierney, Saka, Fernandez, Son, Rashford, De Bruyne, and Kane. Really pissed off with Tierney, man. Like he was like one that I really thought would do well. I was against the double up of Arsenal defence because I just thought Palace might score. Sace was my gamble pick, which didn't pay off. In terms of 50-50 calls, I'd sent a few drafts and I had one with Luke Shaw and I had planned on having Luke Shaw, but then I think over the weekend there was some speculation that potentially Shaw was injured or had a rest or sorry, just wasn't well, and I didn't want to take the risk, so I didn't put Shaw in, and I think he got like 7 or 8 points in the end.
Mm.
But yeah, and then so Brewster came in, and I got Mitchell second sub, and he's got 2 bonus as well tonight, I think. So that would have been 8 points. So I'm just not happy to be honest using a free hit. I mean, it would have done better than my last week's team by some considerable margin. But still, I don't think 50 points from a free hit is great. But still, I still got a rank increase. I think I'm like 1.5 million now instead of like 1.8. So next week is a big week for me, especially. I think most people doing the free hit probably got between 50 and 60 points. You know, I have seen some horror ones with like Sterling captain. Like, let's just talk about that for a second. I don't know why the hell Sterling took the penalty. I was fuming. I was absolutely fucking fuming when like he went to take it, and suddenly, next second, I see Sterling in front of the ball. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing there?" Like, I was fully expecting KDB to, pop up, and then I just knew as soon as he was going to take it, I was just like, "He's going to miss, like 100%. He's going to miss." But yeah, what? How did you feel? Did you watch it? Were you watching it live?
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, I don't know what it was. Whether Kev went, oh, go on, Raz. You need the little bit of a confidence boost. Go on, you have the penalty. I mean,
Yeah, I've seen some Sterling captainers. Like, I feel sorry for them.
yeah. I mean, for him to come on, what was it, like 8, 9 minutes to go, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
that happened. Um, yeah, all you can do is feel sorry for him. But on the other hand, I did find it quite hilarious, even as a KDB owner.
But that would have been an extra, like if he had scored at least, what,
That's
four.
6 points, isn't
If
it?
KDB would have taken it, that would have been 4 points. Plus he would have got bonus then because he would have had the goal and assist, and then for captains that's like 14 to 16 points.
Yeah, for
That's
you, that's a
massive.
huge swing. Him not stepping up to take
Yeah,
it, and he walks away with free BPS
yeah,
as well. Anyway, if even if Sterling puts it away, he probably walks away
that's
with the
true.
BPS, and
That's true.
yeah, he doesn't, and you're left with 12 points instead of probably beating Kane.
I guess is there anything else that we can take away from the weekend's games that is important going forward? I think the only thing for me is um, Man City defense. Um, still doing well. I'm not sure if there's anything. Spurs, is there anything that we can take away? Is there anything that you kind of thought about from the game week just gone and thought, okay, well, I need to think about this going forward into the next game week?
Not really. I think Spurs defense you can't trust anymore.
Yeah,
They look like they're going to go ahead and then like the amount of times we've seen them go ahead in like the first 15, 20 minutes this season and then just sit off and sit back. They didn't do it to United, but they'll do it to everyone else. And yeah, I think Everton showed that they'll get sort of they'll fight hard for a win, even without DCL there.
I was quite impressed with Man United defence. I know it was only Burnley, but
yeah, Burnley didn't have a single shot on target.
yeah, that's not surprising, is it?
I think all of their shots, apart from Tarkovsky right at the end, every single shot was from like 20, 30 yards. So, and De Gea's not getting beaten from out there. And yeah, I think they showed a resilience. I think it's all down to Eric Bailly in there as a partnership with Maguire. He just gives you something like Lindelof is just a smaller version of Maguire, isn't he? So, yeah, Bailly just gives that extra bit of dynamic in the defence where he's got that pace. He seems to put his body on the line just all the time. Yeah, I think he blocked two or three shots himself the other night. I'd be really disappointed if he doesn't start on Sunday.
Yeah,
I think he's a huge defender to have in on Sunday.
it's a big game Sunday. United now top of the league. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So before you start gloating, let's move on to our hot topics this week. Rob, you put out a poll. What were the 4 topics? How did it go?
So we put out a poll and we had 4 different topics that we like the look of that went out, and I'm just going to bring up the poll because I can never remember the full results. So we had for the second half of the league, go through our predictions, like top scorers in FPL, who's going to win the league, etc., etc. Then we had top differentials for the second half of the season. They were actually sent as one topic, and I thought actually you could probably make a whole new topic out of the differentials. So I separated that out. Then single game week options for game week 19, and then bench boost in game week 19. So with 50% of the votes was the bench boost in game week 19, and with 25% of the votes was the top differentials going into the second half of the season. So we're going to chat about those this evening.
Well, I like those 2 topics. The differential ones for the second half of the season is very interesting. So I guess let's get started with that. Rob, you did some research via yourself and I guess probably your planner as well, which we'll go into some detail when we talk about the Panda planner later. But what have you got for us?
So I thought rather than going through every single player that's under 5% owned, because that would be really boring, I'll just pick out some that impress me like through the eye test and then try and dig out some underlying stats for them. So I've only picked like a handful. First of all, is Lucas Fabianski, your keeper, who's only 4% owned, and it's at 5.1 as a price. Yeah, he's had a good season so far. West Ham's defence look like they're getting stronger as the season goes on. He hasn't made any errors leading to any goals, and it's only made one error that's led to even a shot at goal. He saves 3/4 of the shots that are taken against him, like just under 73%, at 3.1 saves per game on average. So he's getting you an extra point every game. Yeah. What do you think of Lucas Fabianski?
I think it's a really good option, and he's a good penalty saver as well. If we get any penalties against us, I remember him saving a few penalties. He's decent. I think our defense is looking a lot better than it was, especially last year. And Lucas wraps up the saves points. Like generally, even last year, he's always up there as one of the top scorers for goalkeepers. So yeah, I think really good option and only 4% owned. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed from West Ham, especially in the last few weeks, probably since you played United, yeah, you're limiting chances pretty much to people having long shots or set pieces and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think much stronger option. So I only went with one goalkeeper because like I'll end up talking about the pros and cons of Areola, and no, I don't need to give you any pros for Areola and make people buy him. So we'll go straight on to a defender, which I only picked one, and that's Matt Targett of Aston Villa, who's only 4.6% owned, which shocked me, at 4.6 million. I think with Villa, it's like a no-brainer at the moment. If you can't afford Martinez in goal, you need to have uh, some Villa coverage at the back because yeah, they're joint first in clean sheets. Only Man City are up there with them. The heat maps actually show between the fullbacks, Target and Cash, who both like to get the ball into the box. Target actually gets further forward. And with the return of Barkley, I can see Grealish um, coming inside a little bit more and giving Target a little more space to move up the pitch as well. So with those overlapping runs, he's not afraid of taking a shot. He averages a shot on target every 2 games, which isn't bad. But
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good.
for a fullback, you're just wanting someone that's going to stick the ball in the box. The problem is with Villa, they haven't got that target man to aim at. But with Barkley's return, he makes those late runs into the box. He's big and he likes to get himself in there. So yeah, I've gone with Matt Target. Yeah,
Who's your second defender?
I didn't pick a second defender. There's only one defender.
All right, I'm going to add in as defender here.
Go on.
I'm going to go for, and I've got no stats or anything here. This is just me going off my West Ham loving, and I'm going for Dawson. Craig Dawson at 0.1% owned. Now,
Back from
it
the dead.
may not be a long-term option. Yeah, exactly. It may not be a long-term option, and that's one thing to say that's important. However, he's come in the last 3 games, 3 clean sheets, doing really well with Ogbonna there. Even if it's someone for the next few weeks, I think it's worth it. 4.5%. I think, our fixtures are great for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So I really think Dawson's a good option, unless he has a bad game. I don't think he's going to be dropped. If he starts making mistakes, then you've got Balbuena and Diop there ready to take over. But I can't see Moyes dropping Dawson right now. But remember, I don't think it's going to be a long-term option. As soon as he makes a mistake or mistakes, he'll probably get dropped. But for the short term, I think he's a good one.
Interesting.
4.5 million, 0.1%. Can't get much more differential than that.
No.
Right, midfielders, who you got?
So I've gone from United's main man from Monday night, Paul Pogba, who's
Oh, wow.
he's still only 1.4% owned. I think it's the price of 7.7 million that puts him off, and whether he's actually cemented into that team or not, which I think we'll find out on Sunday. I think if he starts on Sunday, that means he is locked in that team for the rest of this. Well, as long as his form stays the same. If he's back on the bench, it means that against the better teams, he will be on the bench, and I think it's more of trust from Solskjaer of him to play that pivot in midfield, which against the lesser teams, he's done it really, really well. I mean, he was almost unplayable against you lot a couple of months. Well, last month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other night, he was
Oh,
pretty
was
much.
that when you scored? That was when you scored the goal that shouldn't have stood, right? Where it went like over to the touchline, like way out.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Well, it's not even like it was like that was why the goal went in.
No, I know.
It was a
I just
cracking
thought
goal.
I'd add it in. It was a cracking goal, but it shouldn't have stood. Anyway, go on, carry on.
So yeah, I've just had a look at his like last 7 games, so since he played West Ham, but not included the Leicester game where he did come on as a sub. Which there you go, there's the clue. Like, but then he started against City, so I just don't know at the moment. But he's averaged 82 touches from all over the pitch, compared to an average of just 40, which he was doing at the start of the season. So he's getting himself involved a lot more.
Yeah.
He's creating not well. He's producing actions that 0.6 actions that lead to a goal scoring opportunity. So like his pass to Bruno, who then passes it to someone who gets a shot at goal. So stuff like that. So he's getting himself involved up the top of the pitch, and yeah, I mean, if he starts on Sunday, he could be like a cheaper option at United if you wanted some coverage, but didn't want to
I
go for
don't
the
think.
likes of
I think it's too much money. 7.7 million. I think it's too
It's
much for
yeah.
Pogba.
So yeah, but that kind of leads me on to our next person who is slightly cheaper and is nailed, um, and only 4.6% owned, but has also, like Pogba, struggled with injuries at the start of the season. And that's James Maddison of Leicester.
Good option. I like that. Really like that.
He's like the forgotten man of FPL, isn't he?
Hmm.
Like the last couple of years, he's been someone that people have generally had in their teams, and he's kind of just been forgotten about this year. But in the last few weeks, he's put in some decent performances that might have gone unnoticed. Um, he looks like he's back to full fitness, although he didn't play at the weekend, and neither did Vardy, so they're both flagged. But I think it was just Rodgers giving them a rest, because Vardy's managing this hip injury that he's had since the beginning of time, and Maddison obviously spent a large chunk of the season out injured. He's on free kicks, corners for Leicester, with Siunchu due to return at some point. Um, it gives him someone to really aim at who's good in the air. Um, so yeah, again, with him on corners, like the potential for assists is there again. Um, like I said with Pogba, with his 0.6 times a game, his actions leading to a shot on goal. James Maddison goes up a completely whole new level, and he produces 7 actions a game that leads to a shot on goal. Whether that's a direct assist or assisting the
Wow.
assister, which is um, that's in the 7 games since the beginning of December, and he's also got 3 goals and 2 assists in that time. Um,
Really good option, mate. I like that one.
I don't
Really
know.
like that one.
I think it's. I don't know why I didn't really look at him as like a differential when I wildcarded, because they've got the double. They got the double. They've got a double, haven't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I think it might have been the price, where I was trying to squeeze in um, another like big money player. Yeah, he's definite option. I, I'd probably look at getting him in the next couple of weeks. Because yeah,
So will I, mate. Probably for Grealish
yeah.
after the
Um,
double.
I mean, Grealish is another one that he has a lot of these actions that are like assisting the assister or getting the cross in. But the thing that concerns me with him is um, there isn't anyone that seems to be there that. I mean, Watkins has been unlucky with VAR and stuff, but he just there doesn't seem to be anyone for Grealish to aim at, and he seems to be trying to do too much by himself. So yeah, he's a nice little option instead and you know that James Maddison's got a proven goal scorer
Yeah,
to aim at.
yeah.
So yeah.
Who are your forwards then?
So with the forwards, I mean, other than the likes of, I mean, pretty much all of the decent forwards are all owned by sort of 15% or more.
Yeah.
So I had a look at free forwards, um, and this is like between now and the end of the season to perform well. So I've got free forwards that um, none of them are over 3.5% owned, and I think they'll all play big parts in the towards the end of the
Can
season.
I guess one of them?
Who?
Antonio. Antonio.
He is
Yeah,
one of them, yes, at
yeah, yeah.
6.2. Um, so looks like he's going to be back. He might start both this week. He might start one. Um, what do you think? Do you think he starts both or one of them?
Well, so initially I thought he would start both. Well, actually, so so before the Stockport game, I didn't think he would start both. Then he played 90, and now I was starting to think maybe he would start both. But that forward that came on, and I can't remember his name. On Oniq something. I don't know. There's a forward that we've signed. I can't remember what his name was. He's from the youth team. Apparently Moyes really likes him. Um, and there was rumours out today that he might start actually. So I don't know whether or not he'll start both, but I think he'll play at least 120 minutes over the two games, I would say. Um,
I think,
but outside of the double game week, he will start going forward once
mm,
his fitness is fully fit. So that's why for the rest of the season, I think is a really good pick.
yeah, especially at the price, because if he does start scoring, you're going to be getting some value from him as well for that second wild card. Um, yeah, I agree. So next one, at 1.4% owned, um, but will set you back 10.3 million. Is
Jesus.
not Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah.
um, it is his strike partner Sergio Aguero.
Sergio. Yeah.
Now we touched a bit upon him last week. My only concern at the moment is the amount of competitions that City are still in. Yeah, they're chasing 4 trophies again. Um, they won't win all 4 again, but whilst they are chasing them, his minutes are going to be managed. The moment he starting again, yeah, we're not going to see him play much more than an hour every week. But history will tell us that he doesn't need an hour to get a brace or a hat trick.
No.
I think maybe not in the next, maybe give it another 2 or 3 weeks, but then, um, yeah, once City can really smell the top, or even if they're top, Pep will do everything to stay there, and I think Sergio Aguero will be a big part of that. Um, yeah, I that's all I've got to say. What do you think about Sergio Aguero?
No, I agree. It's just when he's fit, right?
Yeah,
That's the thing with
yeah,
Aguero. When you see him starting, you get him in. He's just one of those players. You see him starting once or twice, you get him in. And 10.2 million or 10.3 million, that's the lowest he's ever been in FPL.
hmm.
So yeah, can't argue with that you there, mate. Not at all.
But then next up, we've got another South American striker who we know is fully fit, um, but yet is only 1.8% owned. It'll set you back 7.8 million, and that's Edison Cavani. He's like my other notable
He's
differential.
not nailed though, that's the problem.
I think he'll become nailed. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, United have got this problem on the right side, and I don't think like the new signing isn't going to be ready. I don't think. I think he's going to be a sort of end of the season with the under 23s. I've got a feeling that he was bought into the Premiership now.
What's his Diallo, right?
Yeah,
Diallo,
yeah,
yeah.
Diallo, to kind of just integrate with the team more. Because he's only started twice, I think, in Italy. I don't think throwing him into the Premiership straight away is a great idea. So yeah, I think because of that, we'll see a front three like we did on Monday night quite often for the rest of the season with Martial and Rashford out wide and Cavani through the middle. And at the moment, well, there hasn't been any news today. Yeah, Martial is a big doubt for Sunday, and if Cavani steps up and takes his chance, then he's nailed. Yeah, if he scores against Liverpool and United win, yeah, it'd be hard for him to be dropped, I think, especially with the performances we have seen from him this season. Against Southampton's the one that really stood out, where he came on at half time, and yeah, he came on and sort of turned the game around, hassling defenders. Yeah, so
Nice.
and I think he's also a positive for the other United assets, because they do need that person to aim at in the box who they haven't had since Latan went, to be
Yeah.
honest. And then so people like Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, who can cross a ball very accurately, will benefit from having and they have already benefited from having that extra man to aim at in the box. So yeah,
Right.
that's my differential picks.
Right. Thank you very much, Rob. I think really good, notable options there for the rest of the season that you guys should put on your watch list to keep an eye on. So, the next hot topic, so the second hot topic is bench boosting for double game week 19. Yes or no? So
Just don't ask me that question now.
yeah, so when I said to Rob beforehand, I'll let you guys into a little secret. Once we saw the the outcomes of the poll, I said right. So it's differentials and it's bench boosting game week 19. I said probably better for you to do the differentials because you can use your planner as well. And he goes, "I'm glad you said that because now if you advise people to use a bench boost and it goes wrong, they can blame you, not me." So correct. Right. So let me give you my take on it. So I think there's three things to consider here, whether or not to bench boost or not. Now, on a normal bench boost, most people will put a realistic benchmark of 16 points. And the reason you come to 16 points is because you go 2 points for each game, 4 players, 8 points times 2, 16 points, right? So on an average bench boost, double game week bench boost, you'd want 4 double game weekers. Now, the reason why people are unsure about this week is because a lot of free hitters and a lot of people who are aiming to use the bench boost have now got problems where Leeds aren't playing, and people have got the likes of Dallas, Rafinha, Bamford, and now they've got a bench of 3 single game week players. You've also got McCarthy, Adams, etc., who were due to have a double game week, now only getting a single game week, and so people are really like, whether or not should I bench boost, should I not? So the three things to consider: number one, can you get 16 points? So can you look at your bench realistically and get to 16 points? What do you think? So my position, before the announcement of the Aston Villa game, this morning being having now a second game with Newcastle, I probably wasn't going to bench boost because I didn't think I could get 16 points. Now they've got Newcastle, I've got the likes of Grealish and Martinez in my team, and I think I probably can. So I've got 11 double game weekers to start, and then I've got a bench of Dallas, Rafinha, Bamford, and Martinez. Now, if we break that down, and I'm going to try and be as realistic as I can, I put Dallas at 2 points. So they're playing Brighton. Dallas at 2 points, Rafinha at 2 points, Bamford at 6 points, because I think it's quite realistic for them to get at least one goal. And if they get a goal, it's probably going to be Bamford. So we're at 10. And then we've got Martinez, who's playing City and Newcastle. So probably 2 points against City, although maybe more because of save points. And then I think, realistic, 6 points against Newcastle, because I can't see Newcastle scoring. So that's 18 points there. So I think for me, it's worth it, because am I going to get more from four players that are going to get 2 games each? Probably not. So that's the first question. The second thing is, can you afford to hold the value? So this is something that I don't think many people were considering. So people who have worked towards a bench boost are now thinking, should I do it or not? The problem is that you've worked towards a bench boost, and you've probably got players on your bench who you ordinarily wouldn't have on your bench. So your benches might be 4.0 million defenders or 4.5 million midfielders, but actually there might be now 4.5 million defenders and 5 million midfielders. So because you wanted to exploit the bench boost. Similar with goalkeepers, like I've got 2 playing goalkeepers. I've got a 4.5 and a 4.8. Normally, I'd only have a 4.0 second goalkeeper. So the longer that you leave the bench boost, the longer that you'll have that value stuck on your bench. Now, my idea is if I can use my bench boost this week, I can start getting rid of those excess players from next week. So my second and third bench players, my second goalkeeper at some point, start to get rid of them, get that money out, and pump that money into your bigger assets. So that's the other thing to consider, where I don't think many people have kind of thought about that. And I guess combining that, the third thing is, can you use it realistically, effectively in another time? So the next time opportunity that I would be looking to use the bench boost would probably be game week 26. So we've got a double game week in game week 26, and we've got a blank game week in game week 29. So I would be wildcarding. I'm most likely going to be wildcarding in 25 to prepare for the double game week in 26. Now, if I was going to save my bench boost, I will use my bench boost then. So the first problem is, between now and game week 26, I'm going to be having those bench players that I don't want to be bench players, because I want to be downgrading them, stuck, because I don't really want to get rid of them. And then the other issue is, game week 29 is a single game week, and I don't have, it's a blank game week. I don't have my free hit. And the likelihood is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but the players that you'll have in 26 won't be playing in 29, most likely, right?
I think there's a few exceptions.
But generally,
Spurs, City, and probably Villa will, if they double in 26, they'll probably play in 29 as well.
but isn't 29 the FA Cup?
Yes, but
so if they're playing in the FA Cup, then they won't be able to play in 29, right?
I believe there's a midweek.
Oh, is it? Okay.
2 seconds.
I guess the thing is that we don't know what teams are going to be playing in 29. Generally, if you double in 26, they won't be playing in 29, is the normal rule. Now, where that leads me to is my wild card. I'm going to be wildcarding. I'm going to be wanting 11 double game weekers really for 26. Now, if I'm bench boosting, I'm going to want 15. So that means I've got those 4 bench players who probably aren't going to be playing in the blank game week of 29, which therefore means I'm going to have basically no players for the blank game week of 29. My idea, without using the bench boost, is to have 4 of the blank game week players of 29 on my bench, ready for game week 29, and then between 26 and 29, make 3 or 4 transfers. So for 29, I'll have 7 to 8 players. Rob, did you have a look? Did you find anything?
Yeah. I can't work out why they can still have games in 29. I think it's if they move some other. Yeah, I can't think why. It might be if they cancel the international break,
Yeah.
possibly.
So, but generally, the rule of thumb is if they have a double, there won't be, they'll probably have a blank. So that is general the rule of thumb. So that's kind of why I think it's really important that I just want to get rid of my bench boost now. Don't need to worry about it. Don't need to think about it. Can start getting rid of those players. In 25, the plan is to wildcard into 11 double game weekers, have 4 29 players, 29 week players on the bench, ready for the blank game week in 29. And that's why I think, for me personally, you should bench boost. If you're in a position where you're going to have to take loads of hits to bench boost, then maybe not. I'm looking at a -4 if I don't want KDB or a -8 if I do want KDB. I've got the option and I'll still have a good team. I'll still have 11 double game weekers to start. Martinez on the bench with 3 Leeds players. And for me, I think that's enough. So the answer is, from me, yes, it's okay to bench boost if you think you can get 16 points out of it. Rob, what do you think?
I think you've answered perfectly. Oh, you want my opinion?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently in a bit of a tough spot where I've only got 9 double game week players, and I've got McCarthy against Leicester, Bednarek against Leicester, and then Bamford, Rafinha.
Can you get 16 points from your bench?
Bamford,
6,
Rafinha,
2.
McCarthy,
Who they got?
Leicester away,
Let's say
3,
3.
and then probably be Bednarek. So
So
2.
2. So you're looking at
And then,
13.
but a -8, I could do Bednarek to target for his double. So that brings me up to. Oh, that's just we're using the free transfer. That brings me up to 10, and that's a potential 8-pointer.
Yeah.
And then I could maybe look at doing Adams. Oh no, can't. The problem I've got is because I've got 3 West Ham players, because I could easily just go Adams to Antonio, but then I'd have
Yeah.
to ship out probably Bowen for someone. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I might hold the bench boost and then pray to the FPL gods that it just falls my way for 26. Yeah, I mean we'll know. The idea is we should know the 26 doubles by game week 24. So potentially can make 2 or 3 changes before that double. But yeah, and I'd like to think that who's still in the cup? West Ham should go through. Who have you got? Wickham.
Yeah, but then we've got United or Liverpool in round 5.
Yeah. So you're out of the cup. So
Well, you're going to be out before us, right? In
yeah,
round 4 when Liverpool beat you, right?
I
That
mean,
shut you up.
who have I got that will double in 26? Diaz will almost definitely double in 26.
And there's going to be loads of doubles before then as well, right? But
Yeah,
all these postponements, there's going to be so many. That's just my thoughts. I just want to get rid of it. Don't need to think about it. The bench boost to me doesn't add so much value. It's like 16 to 20 points. That's not massive. So I'd much rather put in that, I would say, 1.5 to 2 million that is stuck on my bench into my main team.
yeah.
So I just think that's something for
I'm
people to think about.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do at the moment. I think, yeah, if I take a -8, I can get 12 double game week players out, including KDB. Like it will be KDB, Salah, and Bruno in there. Well, like Bruno by 4:45 on Sunday could be down to a single game week if he gets his
Yeah,
yellow card.
it's hard. Yeah,
I mean, with that, it just means, yeah. I mean, I probably wasn't going to captain him anyway, but it just means I definitely won't captain him.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm not taking him out because if he doesn't get a yellow card, then you miss out on Bruno against Fulham,
yeah.
which is a
Exactly.
no-brainer, isn't it? So
Well, I think I've answered that question as best as I can. Right, so that is that hot topic over. Now it's time for the 5v5 Panda Planner versus Sham, our new weekly feature. So we thought rather than going through a review of game week 19 and any subsequent game week match by match, it would be good to do it in a fun way and picking our top picks. And then afterwards, after we've done it, give you an explanation for them. So for those that don't know, Rob has created a transfer planner, which we are calling the Panda Planner, and in this it has projections for every player. Rob, do you want to give a quick explanation of what it does?
yeah, so it takes the looks at how the team that the player plays for does, how the team that the player is playing against does, how the player does himself based on his points, and then kind of goes there's like a little algorithm that I've written. It's like a bit of a work in progress still. Constantly trying to adjust it to try and improve the accuracy, but yeah, the ability of the team they play against and the team they play for, they're like ranked and then weighted to then go against how many points they've scored, etc., etc., etc. It's very complicated, but I'd probably do a whole new podcast on it, so I won't bore everyone.
Well, that's a brief
We
explanation.
don't
That's
we
good
don't want
enough.
to have a 2-hour podcast.
Exactly. So what we decided to do is I would take on the planner each week with my top 5 players and the planners or Rob's top 5 players.
Yeah, it's not
Now,
my top 5 players. It's what the planner picks.
planner to picks. Okay, so you can't ever be blamed when I win,
No,
right?
no, I will
No.
not be
Okay.
blamed. But when the
Okay.
planner wins, then I'll take the
You
glory.
win.
Yeah.
Now, this could go horribly wrong, or it could be absolutely amazing, right? We haven't pre-prepared this. Swear to God, we haven't done it. I don't know who Rob is going to pick, and he has no idea who I'm going to pick. Now, the rules are simple. It's a draft style pick, so we can't have the same players. And the first person to choose is decided by a coin toss. Now, the rules are you can have one goalkeeper, one defender, 2 midfielders, and 1 forward. Now, out of those 5 players, one must be minimum under 5% owned, one must be minimum under 10% owned, and one must be minimum under 20% owned. And the other two can be any percent. So, for example, if you wanted to, you could have 5 under 5% if you wanted, but it needs to fit under those brackets. Now, we pick one at a time with a 1 minute clock. So Rob's going to be in charge of the clock. I imagine it will probably be a lot less than a minute, but when it comes to maybe 4 and 5 pick, we might need a bit more time, or I certainly will. Rob just has to look at his planner and go, "Oh, tell me which one is best to go," and it will tell him. Who goes? You can pick whoever you want, so it doesn't have to be in a particular bracket first. And yeah, that's basically it. You can't have the same player at the end. Both teams must meet all the above criteria, i.e. if you're down to your last pick and haven't chosen a player under 5%, then that pick must be under 5%. Okay, are you ready to go, Rob?
Yep. Born ready.
Okay. Right, I've got a coin here. Okay, don't know if you can see it. Right. Do you want heads or tails?
Tails.
It's not double-sided, mate, don't worry.
Tails never
Tails,
fails.
okay. That's good. Right. It is
managed to catch it as well.
tails, mate.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
I did.
tails.
It's tails.
Oh, he's not cheating.
It's definitely tails.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I won't even time
So
myself
you get to pick
because
first.
I can do this really quickly. So the first pick from the planner is Soufal from West Ham.
What? What?
He's projected at 10.5 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. He was on my shortlist. He was on my
He's
shortlist.
in
Right.
the
I'm going
under 10% bracket there as well.
under 10%. Okay. I'm going. So you don't need to time me. KDB.
Cool. I would have guessed that anyway. Oh, this is going to be horrible, isn't it? If West Ham lose, it's because of their fixtures. So yeah, second up's Jared Bowen. So it's the under 5%.
Oh, one thing that we forgot to add actually is that you can only have a maximum of 2 players from one team.
Yep.
That's an important caveat.
That is it for West Ham for the planner.
That's it for West Ham. Okay. So Kafal is your 10% and Bowen is your 5%, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, mine is ooh. Are you timing me? Okay.
I am now.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go for Salah.
Cool. Oh, this is going to be horrendous. This is Timo Werner. Under 20.
What percent is he?
He's under 20%.
Okay.
So I'm all covered. My differentials, they're all covered now. So
They're all covered, right? Okay. No, this is a tough one now. I can't choose anyone above, so it has to be a differential now. Okay, I'm gonna go for Firmino.
Ooh, interesting. That's a really interesting pick.
Well, I'll explain why afterwards.
So now I can pick pretty much anyone from my shortlist. Who is there? Who's next? Bruno.
It's gonna be really.
Bruno Fernandes.
Ooh.
God damn, that yellow card's going to come in there. It's going to be like 12-minute yellow card for the planner.
Okay, I am going with. I need to check what percent Firmino is. I think he was. Firmino. Okay, that's fine. He's 4.5%. Okay, I'm going with Cresswell. Oh no! Do you know what? I'm swapping that. I'm changing that. I'm changing that. Not Cresswell. Not Cresswell. I need to play tactics here. I'm going with Fabianski.
And I have to. I've got to pick a keeper as well now, haven't I?
This is why I changed because I thought you were going to go with Fabianski.
I've already got two West Ham. He's the top
Oh
projected.
yeah.
I know he wasn't the top projected. So I can get the top projected. Mendy.
Ah, interesting. Okay, and my last player is Cresswell. Okay, so
Give us the lineups then.
okay, so Rob, you've got Kafal, who is 10% owned. What's Kafal's ownership?
Well under.
So he's under 10%. You've got Bowen, who's under 5%. You've got Werner, Bruno, and Mendy. I've got KDB, Salah, Firmino, Fabianski, and Cresswell. So KDB and Salah are above 20%. Firmino is 4%. Fabianski is 4%. And Cresswell, I think, is 14%. I think it was. So, yeah, that is our team. So, the reason why I picked Firmino was I did have Vardy on there. But so it was either Salah or Vardy. So I could have gone Vardy because obviously he's over 20%, right? So I couldn't have KDB, Salah, and Vardy. So I could have gone Vardy instead of Salah, but then I would have had to have another midfielder instead of Salah. And the other person that I chose was Sterling. But yeah, after this weekend,
after last night,
last night's shenanigans, I don't know whether or not I should have picked Sterling. But yeah, the other people that I had on my shortlist there, for those that are interested for kind of picks for this week, was Dawson, like I mentioned. I really like Ziyech as well, and Pulisic, both of them under 5%. I think Ziyech is 2.2%. I did have Ings initially, but then obviously we heard about his COVID. Well, he's going to be out with COVID. Yeah, so those are the other players. I really like West Ham defense, to be honest with you. I think Fabianski should get at least 12 points this weekend.
Could be a massive week for West
Yeah,
Ham defenders.
West Ham defenders, massive, could be. Yeah, what are the reasons? So Firmino, actually, the reason why I thought Firmino is he normally turns up in big games, and he's playing United this week, big game, and then he's got Burnley as well. I think he could return in those two games as good as Vardy. I know he's a streaky player and he had that little streak over December where he played well and was scoring over a few games, and then he's gone off the boil. But yeah, I think he's worth a punt. I think all of our players have got double game weeks, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the reason you picked yours? Well, your planner said.
The planner said. So
Kafal's really interesting. So he's projected to score the most out of every player this week.
Yes.
Wow.
Think. Let me double check. I think him and Bowen were both. 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah, their fixture rating is off the charts. So basically, I rate the fixtures 1 to 20, which is for like a single game week, and then for a double it would be 1 to 40, and then for the treble would be 1 to 60, and their fixture rating is 37.
Wow.
For the
Okay,
game week.
that's massive. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like considering the next best is 29, and that's Chelsea. So yeah, it was always going to weigh in heavily for West Ham.
And where did the Werner pick come from?
So that would be
what's the projection? What's the projection from your planner for that?
let's have a quick look at Werner. I can just have a look at the stats that we've got for him. So he gets 4.5 points per 90, and then his involvement is relatively high out of the strikers and forwards. And then the double. I'm guessing it's the Fulham away fixture that's really boosted the points, rather than the Leicester at home fixture. It's thrown out 10. His projected score at 10.3. So, I mean, if he produced how he should be producing,
Yeah, then you should get that.
I mean, this also takes into account their last season. So with Werner, I actually went through all of his games in the Bundesliga and worked out how many FPL points he would have scored. And obviously, he was just insane in Germany. So
Yeah,
that gives it. It was more to average it out, average out the algorithm, because you obviously, especially at the beginning of the season, you get really weird scores, where a player might come on for 2 minutes and then get an assist. So suddenly they've got a four points in 2 minutes,
yeah,
which it screws with the algorithm a bit. That's another thing I included. The player, when I made the shortlist, the player had to have played 50% of minutes, so the data is pretty valid for them. It surprised me, Werner coming out, but I'm guessing it's because Aguero still flagged on the game, which affects the projections. If they've got a red flag, then it pretty much wipes out the projection. If they've got a yellow flag, it reduces it a little bit. Kane's only got the single game week, which affects his projection a little bit. Antonio hasn't played enough this season, which affects his projection. There's a few other players up there. Giroud's up there, but I think he might not have played enough, over half the minutes available. Tammy Abraham is actually projected at 11.7, but whether he starts or not is another matter as well. But it looks like it's either Giroud or Abraham at the moment.
yeah,
I think Giroud's slightly more in favour. I mean, he's probably a good little punt this week, because he's only 6.7 million. Giroud.
yeah.
Um,
So are we doing a forfeit for this challenge then at the end of the season?
or maybe we could put a vote out.
What, with different forfeits?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
We can do a forfeit.
right. So each week, what we'll do is what will be quite interesting actually is we'll put our teams out. So you've got a template that you can use, right? We'll put our teams out on Twitter the day after this comes out. So after maybe in the afternoon after the premiere of the YouTube video, for example, and then vote on which team you think will win this weekend. Get some interaction from you guys, and any thoughts that you think. And then maybe in a few weeks' time, we can put out some different forfeits for the week when I'm like 4-0 up or whatever, you know. But yeah, maybe if I'm 4-0 down, we won't put any suggestions
Well,
um,
I
but
wouldn't.
I think it'll be quite tight, this week.
I
I think
think
it'll
it's.
be.
I mean, the plan will generally. It will sometimes pick players you just wouldn't even think of.
Yeah,
It's just because of their fixture and how they've been performing, and if they've kind of been like a silent assassin of FPL, just
yeah,
gradually going week by week. Yeah, they might do better than someone that is more explosive. And yeah, I mean that explosive player needs to produce in that game week for you. Whilst that Silent Assassin will probably just produce what he's been producing, and that might be enough. But we shall see. My main fear is Salah and De Bruyne, and Bruno getting a yellow card.
That will screw you.
Imagine if Bruno gives away a penalty, gets a yellow card, Salah scores. It could be it.
That
It
would
could
be
be
great.
just over there and then.
Right, so before we end the pod, let's go over our transfers and captains this week. So I'm 50-50 at the moment. Taylor to Cancelo and DCL to Antonio pretty much 100% for a -4. So I'm probably looking at that. And then I might do Salah to KDB for a -8, but I'm really not sure. I'm just worried about KDB at the moment. I'll probably leave that one last minute and do the other two. But that leaves me plenty of money. So I'll probably make all three transfers on Saturday morning if I am going to go that way, and I will be activating the bench boost as well. So that's kind of where I am at. In terms of captains, now this is a tough one. So I put out a tweet the other day saying that I'm very close to captaining our potato salad king Suchek, and I am. That is a genuine thing. I am. The reason why is because I don't think Salah's going to go off. And I don't think there's anyone else in the team that I think is going to go off. Now, I think KDB could go off, which is why I'm thinking about if in reality, if I don't think Salah's going to score, and KDB is going to go off, and I would be captaining him, then in reality, he's worth a -4. So that's why I'm thinking that move. But if I don't do that, I might well captain him, Suchek, because I think he'll score at least one, or potentially a Man City defender. Cancelo, probably not Cancelo. Probably Stones, maybe, or Cancelo could be Diaz as well. That's I'm not sure about because of Walker there, but Diaz I know is locked with Stones. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at the moment and my thoughts. Rob, what's yours?
It's tricky at the moment. I might gamble, and so my gamble would involve taking Bednarik out for Matt Target. It would involve taking Kane out and bringing Antonio in, and it would involve taking Bowen out to bring in De Bruyne. At which point I'd have to captain De Bruyne and I'd have to play my bench boost, just because of the -8. I could do that, or I might even just roll. I'll probably have to see tomorrow's press conferences because there'll be a lot tomorrow. If there's any major news which then puts even more players out from my team, then it's almost definitely not a bench boost for me. But yeah, I think it's something that's going to be very 50-50, and I probably won't decide on it until like 10:30 on Saturday morning.
I think that's wise, mate.
Yeah, you just don't know, do you? You don't know at the moment. I mean, I would say to people, I mean, I think you can unactivate your bench boost, can't you? Like once you've activated
Yeah,
it, you can turn it off. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just if you've activated it, remember to
To
just
deactivate it.
double check everything at some point Saturday morning, just in case there's been late news, and then deactivate it if need be. But I wouldn't go locking in any transfers like first thing on Friday or any point on Friday really. Try and give it as much time as possible, because for all we know, another team could go get COVID and out
And
goes another double.
if you don't bring in KDB, who are you captaining? Salah probably.
Probably Salah, or I might be tempted to gamble on a West Ham defender.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. Don't blame you for that.
Or even Diaz.
It's tough. It's a tough call this week.
Yeah.
Right. So, before I wrap up, Rob, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, it's been a good game week for me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it won't be next week when we sit on this pod and I've beaten you in this 5v5, mate. So,
Well, you
and
need to
I've
beat
beaten
me.
you.
You need to beat me in something because you've just lost.
Oh, touche.
First 2 weeks in the
Touche.
pod, and you've lost. So
Yeah, touche. Yep, you got me there,
but
mate. Um,
I'm sure I
you
can
got me there.
help you increase that rank and get
Yeah,
you better.
yeah. Right, guys. So our next pod is going to be on Sunday, the 24th of January. Most likely, I think that's what we penciled in. And we will probably do another live stream, maybe on Monday, Monday the 18th. I think after the first round of the double game week fixtures, just to kind of check in how we're doing, just to, maybe a 45-minute pod, something like that. So it'd be good to have you guys on. We'll put something on Twitter if we are going to be doing that, but most likely will be on Monday the 18th after the Arsenal Newcastle game, or probably like during it. But yes,
Once
thanks for
ESR's
tuning
back,
in.
once Smith
Sorry.
Rowe's back, once Smith Rowe's gone
Oh yeah,
crazy, we can jump on a
you and your blood
live stream and
Smith Rowe.
I'll have the disco lights going.
Yeah, that's it. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We are a new pod. This is our second episode, so any feedback is really important to us. You can find us on Twitter, FPL_Happy Hour. We're also on podcasts and our YouTube channel, FPL Happy Hour. Please like, subscribe, share, retweet. I'd really appreciate any kind of, I guess, exposure that you can give us. So until then, have a great weekend and may your arrows be green. Good night.
Cheers, everyone. Good night.